Looky there. You got to get your tie rod replaced. Loosen her lug nuts first before you take her up off. Alright, now we got her jacked up. We used a piece of wood to give us some extra height. We put the jack stand in the correct place along the frame. Cozy. Alright, ladies and gents, we got that tire under there. Save your face from looking like scrambled eggs, maybe. Okay, got the wheel turned, so we got better access to outer tie rod nut, which is a 21 millimeter. Might actually be a 20 millimeter, but I don't think I have that, so we'll use this. I'm gonna break apart that, and on to the next. Correction, it is a 13/16. Okay, after you break it, you can't just keep going on the nut because it will twist out the boot here. So you got to put a 10 mil on top right there, and then just use a crescent wrench, or if you have a proper wrench, and then just hold this tight while you're loosening that, and it will come off. All right, now that we've got the nut off, we're just gonna leave it a couple threads on, and then put a block of wood over the top. It's not really necessary, but you don't actually need some wood. You can just kind of smack it with a hammer, and then just undo the nut and finish it off. There we go. Alright, actually, before you get it all the way out, just go ahead and put it back up in there so you can break that nut. And then you're going to do it clockwise, facing this way, to undo it, because it's going to be counterclock on the opposite side. So your way would be clockwise, looking at it. Alright, I had to use a hammer to kind of smack it, and again, just remember to do that before you take this out, because I probably put some stress on those threads when I was smacking it with the hammer, but should be okay. Anyway, and it helps if you have an actual wrench, so I'm going to be going to Harbor Freight and buying a wrench. But you can see as it turns clockwise as you're looking at it, but on the back side, you know, it would actually be counterclock. So now smack this back out, and we're going to count how many times it turns. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 26 turns. And we need some pliers to grab this clamp and pull that down. Alrighty, we'll use some channel locks on that clamp. And then now we gotta get to that clamp and try to do it with not a lot of space, but just gonna use a flathead screwdriver, and you just gotta stick it in that little square thing. Be good practice for you, and then just turn it to the right to pop it out. Alright, so you can see how I had that jammed in that little square looking thing there, and then you just turn it, you know, and just kind of pull it and pop it, and it will pop out. And then that's actually going to be sacrificed, but we have something to fix it with. Okay, now you can just try to pull the boot off. Undo the jam nut all the way so you can take it off, and then the clamp, of course. And then you do have to kind of yank on this pretty hard to break it from where it's set in up there. But after you do that, it should just kind of pull right off. Okay, now you can see how really bad this one is. Alright, so this is still the old one. I just cleaned it up a little bit, and this thing is a tool that I slid up on there, and then you tighten that down. Damn it, where's the wrench at? Okay, so I think it was it's a 1/2 inch. Oh no, it's 9/16. Yeah, okay. So it's 9/16, and you just tighten those nuts down, and then it's got little teeth in here. But again, you got to hold this with the wrench while you're breaking this. So I'm probably gonna have to do that off camera, so I'm gonna have to go get someone, and I just don't want to have to mess with the camera while I'm doing all that. But so we're gonna hold this tight with the wrench, and then I'm gonna use the breaker bar on this tool, which is 3/8, and you just stick it in there, and you just got to break it. And you see how when I'm moving, that the bar in the back is moving, that you don't want to put stress on that. So that's why you got to hold it in place. I think it's called the steering rack. So that's what I know what I'm talking about a little bit. Anyway, so hold the steering rack with the wrench, and then you just use the breaker bar. Okay, we got it broke. So what I did was just have someone hold the steering rack again, you know, with the wrench like that, and then I just turn this counterclock, and then it comes out. So you can see. And then now I just got to undo the tool and then put it on the new one so we can put torque on it. Also, you will want to put some Loctite. This actually came with the replacement tie rod on the threads. Alright, we're underneath on the driver's side. I just want to show you, so you can actually do this by yourself. So I've got the wrench up on the steering rack right there, so I'm going to push up right there. And then you got your torque wrench over there, which you can actually grab with your left hand, and you've already got it inside the tie rod tool. If I can get to it. Okay, so that's the tie rod tool, and you can see, well, hopefully you can see it right there, but anyway, so 77 foot-pounds on the torque, and I would show you, but I've only got use of one hand right now. So you just push up on the wrench with your right hand, and then pull down, which would be clockwise, on the torque wrench, and it's 77 foot-pounds for hydraulic. And you know, if you have a hydraulic, if you have a power steering fluid reservoir, and if you don't, then you know you have an electric steering, and that's 66 foot-pounds. But most people are probably going to have hydraulics. That's 77 foot-pounds. So here it is from the front side. You can see the torque wrench just goes, you know, it's 3/8 into the tie rod tool, and I'm pretty sure that's 13/16. I used the 15/16 wrench to hold the steering rack, but pretty sure it's 13/16. Okay, so now we're gonna put the boot back on, and okay, let's get to that. And you will also want to put grease on the steering rack. So we're going to use a metal tie. So instead of a plastic tie, we've got a steel tie. So I've already got it on there. As you can see, I just haven't tightened it down, but these will come in handy for a lot of different things. So I went ahead and bought a good amount. I think it's only like 12 bucks for all of these, but that way I don't have to worry about it, you know, drying out if it were plastic and then breaking off. So, and then definitely go ahead and put it on like this first, because there's no room up in there to be putting it on. You just want to have it to that point where you can tighten it, and then you can snip it off if you want, and you're good to go. Alright, you can see that I've got the boot back up in there, and it looks like we are where we need to be. Yeah, looks like we're good. So now you can just use some pliers to, sorry for the focus, it's having trouble today. So now you can just use some pliers to tighten that tie down, and you know, it doesn't have to be crazy tight. Actually, I'm probably gonna have to use a screwdriver to hold that on one side while I pull with the other. Anyway, so not crazy tight, just enough to hold the boot on, but you don't want the metal to actually bite into the rubber and tear it. So Also put some dielectric grease on the inside of the boot here and even on the other side there, just to make sure the seal is watertight, and that will prevent water and stuff from getting in there. Alright, on to the next. Alright, we got the clamp in the back. It's holding real good, and we got the clamp back in the front part of the boot. Got our new jam nut on, and now screw back in the outer tie rod, which was 26 turns. Okay, we got threaded 1, 2, 3, 26. Alright, we're at 26 turns, and then now we can tighten the jam nut back down. I think the torque this is about 50, 45 or 50. Alright, I've went ahead and put it back in. Just, use your ability to move the knuckle back and forth, and then also the ability to move the upper ball joint to get it in, easily. That way you're not putting an angle stress. You want it to be straight up and down when you put the nut in. Alright, I'm going to put just a little bit of blue Loctite on the threads here. Also, I should mention that I did measure the new to the old tie rod, and they were the same length, so that would also affect the alignment. So, I mean, you still need an alignment, but you should be pretty close if you get the number of turns, and then if they're the same length. And I will put a link for this in the description. You really don't need a lot. That's plenty. And the torque on this one is 111. And again, this is a 13/16 size. Alright. I'm gonna do that off camera, but it's 111 foot-pounds. Alright, we got that torque to 111 again. Make sure your jam nut is tight. It's around 40-ish pounds, 40, 50. I mean, snug is good, just don't over tighten that one. Okay, and then the wheel bolts, or the lug nut torque is 100 foot-pounds. And again, do it in a star pattern, so boom, 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 boom. And that's important for your brake wear, just to make sure the rotor is even. And so there's not an angle, and it's, running out the pad in an uneven way, which is going to cause vibration and just screw up the pad. So try to get it as even pressure as you can, 100 foot-pounds.